Hey everyone, I'm Bianca Jordan, an immigration lawyer at Brazen Legal. I help immigrants get legal status in the United States. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you can be the first to get the latest immigration news. And also be sure to follow me over at Instagram at Brazen Lawyer because I share tips on how to make your immigration cases better. And every week I go live to answer people's immigration questions. So definitely be sure to follow me over there as well. Today's video is all about Daca. I'm sure by now you've heard the great news that a court basically told the government that they have to follow the Supreme Court's order back in June. As you know, the Trump administration has been trying to terminate Daca almost since day one, and Daca has been going back and forth through the courts. Back in June of 2020, the Supreme Court said that the way that the Trump administration went about terminating Daca was unlawful, and it basically ordered the government to restore Daca as it existed in September 2017, which is when the Trump administration tried to terminate Daca the first time. And about a month later, so back in July of 2020, Acting Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Chad Wolf, issued a memo basically saying, we're not going to do that. We're not going to have first time Daca applications. And for people that are renewing their Daca, we're only going to give them a 1-year work card, and we're not going to allow them to apply for advanced parole unless it's a really dire situation. And again, Daca has continued to go back and forth through the courts. Last month in November, a federal judge ruled that Chad Wolf did not have the authority to issue the July memo that he did, which basically altered the way in which the government was supposed to treat Daca applicants, both for first-timers as well as renewal applications. And then a couple days ago, in another hearing, the judge basically said that the government has to reinstate Daca the way it existed back in September 2017. So it's really great news because that means that people who never applied for Daca before can apply now. So now that Daca is back, what does that mean? What is this going to look like? I have this split into two groups. One group is for people that already have Daca, and then there's another group, which is the people that can now apply for Daca as first timers. So first I'm going to cover the people that already had Daca and maybe they need to renew. I do have notes, so please bear with me. So people who already have Daca, meaning you've already applied for Daca in the past, your application was approved. What does this mean for you? You can continue to renew your Daca, and you will also get a 2-year work card. Now, there are some people who have already renewed their Daca status, and because of the July 2020 memo that came out a couple months ago, they were given 1-year work cards. Those work cards will automatically be renewed so that you'll get an additional year. And for people that want to or need to apply for advanced parole, you will be able to do that. As I've talked about in other videos, advanced parole is a very important tool that some people can use to enable them to apply for a green card within the United States. And advanced parole is typically used by people who maybe they came to the country undocumented when they were kids, and then they got Daca, but now they are married to a U.S. citizen, or they have a child who is a U.S. citizen that might be over the age of 21. These people typically would be able to apply for adjustment of status, which means that they would be able to get their green card in the United States without leaving to go back to their home country. But because they entered undocumented, they cannot adjust their status. So advanced parole allows that person to leave the United States for a brief trip. And then when you come back to the United States, that is treated as a lawful reentry that now enables you to apply for adjustment of status in the United States. So that's something that people will be able to continue to do if they have Daca. And one last thing I will mention, though, if you have Daca already, but since the last time that you applied for Daca or renewed your Daca, you now have a criminal issue. Maybe you were arrested for a crime. Maybe you pled guilty to a crime. Or maybe you were convicted, you did some jail time. Definitely speak with an immigration attorney before you apply for Daca, because you want to make sure that whatever your criminal issue was, it does not now disqualify you from renewing your Daca status. So to recap, if you already have Daca, you can keep renewing it. Your work cards will be for 2 years. Even if you already got a 1-year one, it will be auto-renewed to get to 2 years. And you can also apply for advanced parole. And if you've ever had any criminal issues since the last time you renewed your Daca, speak with an immigration attorney first. Next, I want to cover the people who have never applied for DACA at all. And you might be wondering, why didn't you apply for DACA back in 2012 when it first was created? And the reason for that is because there was an age limit for DACA. So in order to apply for DACA, you had to be at least 15 years old. And so there were a lot of people that did not apply because they weren't old enough. Similarly, you cannot apply for DACA if you had another immigration status as of June 15th of 2012. So there are a lot of people that did not qualify for DACA at the time that maybe qualify for DACA now. But in order to apply for DACA as a first timer now, you still need to meet the following original DACA requirements, which are first, that you came to the United States before you turned 16 years old. You have continuously lived in the United States since at least 2007. You were present in the United States as of June 15th, 2012. You are currently in school, or you graduated from high school, or if you didn't graduate from high school, you have a GED, or you were honorably discharged from the Coast Guard or the Army. You can't have any felony convictions. You can't have any major misdemeanor crimes or any criminal activity. You can't be a threat to national security or public safety. You can't have had any lawful status as of June 15th, 2012, as I mentioned. And you have to be at least 15 years old unless you are in removal proceedings. Again, as I mentioned, even if you never applied for DACA before, speak with an immigration attorney before you do so, especially if you have any sort of criminal anything. If you've been arrested, you were convicted of something, speak with an immigration attorney first. And the reason for that is because when you're applying for DACA or any immigration benefit for that matter, you are giving immigration officials your current location information. So in the event that your application for DACA or anything is denied for whatever reason, immigration now knows where you are. And especially if you have any type of criminal history and the crimes that you were charged with or convicted of are anything that make you a deportation priority, ICE will now have your current local location, and they can come and pick you up or otherwise place you in removal proceedings. And that's not something that you want to deal with without an attorney. So if you're applying for DACA for the first time, definitely speak with an immigration attorney first to determine that you do in fact qualify for DACA and that you don't have anything that would disqualify you from being able to apply for DACA. I like to remind people, I've already given you all the good news, now for a little bit of bad news. I do like to remind people that despite this great news, that DACA is alive for now, emphasis on for now, because again, DACA was an executive order. It can be easily removed. And as we know, Trump is still our president for like 40 some odd more days, which is plenty of time for him to wreak havoc on our immigration system and make life a living hell for immigrants until then. One thing that this administration is looking into is trying to see if they can confirm Chad Wolf, which is currently the acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, and if they are able to successfully confirm him before Biden takes office, then they can ratify some of his immigration policies, including the July 2020 memo that basically tried to change and alter DACA, and even the filing fee increase that was supposed to go through in October. So I say all this to say, if you qualify for an immigration benefit, maybe you qualify for a green card through a family member, start to work on your application now. Don't just wait until Biden is president to then start working on your immigration cases, because a lot can happen between now and then. I hope you found this video helpful. Please visit brazenlegal.com to learn more about me and my law firm. I plan on going live this Wednesday on my Instagram at Brazen Lawyer. So if you have any questions about DACA or TPS or anything immigration related, hop on over and join me on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Instagram at Brazen Lawyer. Thanks for watching.